You ever get kicked in the nuts? That's how I felt on Friday.
Okay, Ryan was just...
West Cork Beard Company make beard oil and beard balm for a strong, healthy, great-looking beard. Handmade from all natural ingredients in Clonakilty, West Cork. Check out their YouTube channel for beard care tips and advice, or catch them online at westcorkbeardcompany.ie.
Yeah, full boat tonight. Look at that. So, Glenn, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The beard company spot wouldn't.
Well, I was just daydreaming, and all of a sudden, the whole gang is here. Hello, Stan. Hello, Rohan.
Yeah, right. Everybody's here. I guess that's all it takes. Just play the videos, and off we go. So, I guess let me take care of a few housekeeping things right off the bat. So, same old Arsenal is the fellas across the pond. They're done for the time being. The channel is still active, which obviously there are more than a few of you watching on that channel. 9 of you to be exact right now. So the channel is still up and running. The channel is still active, and we are still here. As long as we are permitted to be here, and as of right now, we are permitted to be here. So we will continue to bring you the usual Tuesday evening programming. This week will not be a whole lot of fun to talk about things, but it's therapy. I guess on the bright side of things, or on a comedic side of things, the child next to me hasn't quite figured out how to put his clothes on properly yet. Shirt's on backwards. So, but we'll try to bring you a little comic relief throughout the course of the evening here, and yeah. So let's kick it off with Ryan next to me. How are you? Your shirt is on backwards. I don't know if you know that or not, but maybe it's a flashback to the early '90s hip hop duo Criss Cross. Don't stand up and show us your pants. Just tell us how you feel.
So they say you place the name on the front, not on the back. Well, guess what? I watched the name on the front, not on the back. I'm doing good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to be cute, I guess. Didn't really work. Yeah, because this guy is amazing. I love him. The back, not so much. No, I'm doing good. Yeah, it was an interesting game. It was a roller coaster of emotion on Friday, and I'm excited to get into it. I want to try to be I don't want to say as positive as I can, but I want to try to not just moan and bitch and be a prick the entire show. I want to kind of put some kind of spin on it, because there were I know you guys might not think so. I think there were a few positives in our game, and I would like to talk about it. And I think that there are just things that need to be discussed, and not so much fuck this, fuck that, burn it all down, because I think it's more complex than that. So I'm excited.
Personal attack on me.
No! Wow. You're the last person I thought of. No. I'm sure we'll get into it, Rohan, but yeah, no. I was not referring to you.
Glenn Heisenberg, how are you?
I'm still, my stomach still hurts from the Brentford game. And after dinner, I smoked a J and decided to trim my mustache, and I fucked it all up. I was trimming it. Next thing I knew, I looked like Hitler, so I had to take it all off. And yeah, fuck you. What?
Rohan, top it, please.
I can't. I'm just here to listen to positives that Ryan has to say, because I'm gonna be bitching and moaning the whole show.
So maybe it was about you. I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
It's about me. There's plenty to go. There's plenty of negativity to come. So you know, Stan probably has something more positive than me to say.
Well, we've Glenn and Stan and I have had an opportunity to kind of get everything out there. We've had a couple of shows since Friday to do all of this, but yeah, Stan, feeling any better as it pertains to Arsenal now that it's been
if
4
anything,
days?
I'm probably feeling worse.
Yeesh.
So let's get cracking.
Yeah, shall we? Well, let's you know what? Let's start with current events. So it looks like we are going to complete the transfer of Martin Odegaard, and Glenn. That's Glenn's boy.
Can you repeat the last thing you said, please?
I said it looks like we are going to complete the signing of Martin Odegaard, and that is your boy.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, I'll start with you on this. Glenn might be a bit preoccupied at the moment.
No,
so
I'm done. I'm done.
Sure
I had a dream, a literal dream. We got Odegaard and Awa a couple of weeks ago, and I announced it on this show. And if that comes true, when I go to bed, I'm going to be saying lottery numbers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. No. You know what? Put a lottery ticket under your pillow.
Oh, is that how it works?
Put a blank lottery ticket under your pillow, and we'll see. And when you wake up the next morning, the numbers will be in your head. Fill it out, take it in, and see what happens. Well, Glenn, it's your guy. Martin Odegaard is your guy. You're the one that's been beating that drum on this show.
Whoa. Okay. Now, first of all, I'm not sitting there beating the drum by myself. Stan likes Odegaard too.
No, I think we all like him. I'm not by no means am I trying to put you down by saying that.
I think he has that something special, as they like to say in FIFA.
Like on FIFA,
the video game.
Special, yeah. Here's my take on it, just real quick. Do I think Martin Odegaard is going to help? No, I don't think he's going to help, because I don't think it's down to a player. I think it's a system. The system needs to change. And there's my drum, Glenn, that I've been beating. But in the right system, yes, Martin Odegaard will help tremendously. I will say this in terms of the deal overall. The rumored numbers are 35 million euro, which roughly translates to 29.8 million pounds. Let's face it, last year, while he was here on loan, the rumored purchase fee was about 40 million.
Yeah,
So
I even heard
him
as high as 50.
30 million.
After he went back from being on loan, I heard as high as 50 too.
Yes, yeah, 45 I think was the number that was really being thrown around out there. If it's 30 million, if that's the price, this is a good bit of business.
Mm-hmm.
Period. End of discussion. Glenn,
I agree. You can move on to me. I totally agree.
Stan, you're up next.
Me?
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm happy it's coming. I really want it to happen. If there's a drum, I'm beating it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really hope it happens. Do I think it will help us? Well, only time will tell. You know, I'm just trying to hang in there until the transfer window closes, and I see what business that we've done. Yeah, if Martin Odegaard, if that's a deal that gets done, I'll be very happy about it.
Yeah, Rohan, is it? You feel good about it?
It's a positive. We need creativity in the squad. Like that's
Positive. You're positive.
Yeah, it's positive.
It's positive.
Yeah,
Let's go.
You said something positive, so that's great. You know, see, my whole issue with the team has been that they've not been creative, right? Defensively, we conceded 2 goals. Those were 2 poor goals to concede. But you know, I still think the problem there was in attack. You know, in terms of XG conceded, Liverpool were higher than us, who kept a clean sheet, right? Like, you know, we could have, if, you know, our defenders weren't clowns as they are, they could have defended better. And I think that will get better. But attack-wise, I'm not seeing anything. So Odegaard adds something. But I would not rest all of my hopes on Odegaard, because I have seen him get cancelled in games last season. He came in, he had an impact, but there were other teams which cancelled him out, which marked him out of the game. So he's not going to be a game changer, like you said, because the system is too rigid, and the system is, I don't really know what the system is.
Yeah.
I agree with your assessment, BG, that the system is the problem. But for me, he's going to answer a few more questions in the final third, and that's a problem for us.
Well, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan on this because as tactically astute as I fancy myself to be, and that's kind of a joke. Where does Odegaard fit? Not only in terms of the formation with us, but as it relates to ESR, your boy, how are they going to work together? How do we fit all of these pieces into the attacking puzzle? Because somebody's going to have to sit, right?
No. Well, yeah, someone's going to sit, and that someone I think is going to be Pepe. I think they're going to push ESR out to the left. Saka's going to be on the right. Odegaard in the middle. I mean, if you watch ESR play, do I ever? But if you watch him play, he drifts to the sides. He takes half spaces. He opens up the field for other players. But he always tends to drift mainly to the left, but he does drift to the right sometimes too. And that's why I'm not saying he's the reason we play to the wings. He's not the reason. But I think it just goes to I think it's what he did that in the academy, and I think he's still doing that. So I think it kind of plays into Arteta's hand a little bit because Arteta he wants to play the wings. But we still need that middle presence, that center of the field presence, and I think Odegaard's going to bring that. So I'm excited. And to go back and answer your question, I think he's going to improve us. We're going to be better with him, but is he going to help us to where we need to be? No, he's not. I think the problem is way more screwed up than that. But I'm excited for Odegaard. I'm happy for him to come to us on a permanent, and I'm excited to watch him play. And I think he's going to be again, and I'm going to be beating this drum because I especially after the game on Friday. It's just for me, it's watching certain players and watching them grow and come into their own. And it's going to be tough because our system sucks, our manager sucks, we have players on our team that suck, and I gotta just find something that keeps me going. I need to find something that's going to make me want to watch every game. And Saka, Martinelli, ESR, Odegaard, they're going to make me watch every game. And I'm excited to watch them play.
And I would just like to add on to that yes, I would love to see Smith Rowe on the wing, but I do not think he's going to replace Pepe. And the Premier League is the most physical league in the world. So, Odegaard and Smith Rowe will get plenty of playing time.
Can I also add something as well? The way some of our fans are talking about Martin Odegaard and whether he can improve us and whether we should even be going into him. The way some of our fans have that discussion, you would think that they were talking about Arsenal being a team that's fighting to win the league. We're second place or almost first place, and we're turning our nose up at players because we're thinking, well, this one's not going to help us get us quite over the line, so we shouldn't be looking there. You got to remember, we're eighth. We're a team that finished 8th 2 years in a row. You're telling me that this kid from Real Madrid isn't a good buy for an 8th placed team? That's what we are. We're getting a guy from Real Madrid who's done quite well for us, and we've managed to entice him to come to a team that sits in 8th place for 2 seasons. Has no European.
5 second add on. 5 second add on.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished. And also, we don't have any Champions League either. We've got no Europa League. And I just find it really snobby that the fans are talking about him as if we're Manchester City and we're thinking about buying El Neni. Sorry about that.
That's good, Stan. I like
my 5 second add-on. It's a long walk back to competing for the top 4. Odegaard is a good first step on that walk.
Yeah, I like I said, I like the deal. I mean, I thought he had some flashes of brilliance for us last year. Why couldn't this deal get done? Here's the downside. So now let's get into the pissing and moaning a little bit. Why now? Why not a month ago? Why not a month ago? He could have come in. Now, I want to make perfectly clear that it takes 2 to tango. So maybe Real Madrid stalled. Maybe they dragged their feet. There's always a second side to these stories. So I don't know. I'm not laying it all at the feet of Arsenal Football Club. But if they were willing a month ago to get this done for $30 million, why did we wait? Why are we dragging our feet? Anyone? I pose that question to anyone.
Ryan, they run their football club. The professional term is dickheads. They wanted as much money as they could get, and they waited and waited and waited.
Sure,
I wouldn't even say it's. I don't even think it's even that. I think Ancelotti came to the team. He assessed what he had. He originally told Odegaard, "Yeah, there's a spot for you." Odegaard wasn't leaving, and Arsenal like, okay, but we're gonna kind of keep tabs on it. We're gonna keep the tab in the background and kind of not pay attention, but pay attention. And I think just things came out over time, and he wasn't happy with.
They just play games, Ron.
Yeah, maybe.
The media. They are manipulators. They are master manipulators in the transfer market. They even use the media.
Maybe, but I do believe that Ancelotti came to the club, a new manager. He's gonna do a different system, different style. He's gonna play certain players that may not play. He's gonna maybe exile certain players. That's just what a manager does when they come in. So I believe it, and I just think things wore thin with Odegaard. And he's like, all right, I want out. Arsenal like, oh, okay, cool, we're in. And also on top of that, I think the money we're using for this Odegaard buy is the Willock money. So I think we had to wait for Willock to get sold in order to buy Odegaard. We weren't gonna buy Odegaard with Willock still on the roster.
So with that in mind, then does that not beg the question, where's the rest of the money going to come from to buy a backup goalkeeper, a partner for Partey, potentially a new right back, a new striker, if that's where we're at? Where's that money going to come from?
Well, maybe Kroenke will invest some of his own money. There's going to be a protest on Sunday.
I mean,
that's for sure.
I don't know how much that's going to help.
At this point, if it's been 15 years, 16 years, and Glenn, I'm not, and I am being argumentative, but not toward you when I say this. It's not going to happen. If it were going to happen, it would have happened by now.
The protest?
No, Kroenke investing his own.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe that. I think he's gonna wait until he's pinned against the wall. And he's like, "Fuck, I guess I gotta spend some money," and he's gonna do it.
No, yeah, because
he's pinned against the wall. How?
He's gonna.
And the fact that we need pieces and like the Bellerins, the Xhakas, they're not going anywhere, so we're not generating money. So therefore, he's like, "Well,
because we're gonna have 0 points after 3 games. That's when he's going."
Yeah, and that you have that too.
And I'm not
very well have 0 points after 4.
I don't want the team to lose. By the way, I mean,
no,
I just genuinely believe that we have no chance of getting any points. Like, I don't even think that we're gonna get a draw against Chelsea or against Manchester City. That's going to be the last game of the window, I think, and by then there'll be enough panic because we'll be 20th, right, after 3 games, which is nothing to say. We've got a difficult start, so we could have been a much better team and still had 3 points out of 9, and we're just going to have 0. So maybe that's going to prompt some change. He has invested money. I don't think that there hasn't been investment. So, if we are to think that Ben White was the investment, then again, as usual, we've invested it in the wrong department, in my opinion. But but I think there is some investment to be made, and the losses will prompt that.
Well, this is the age-old question, isn't it, Stan? What Kevin C says here. We've spent the third most in 5 years, and this is the team we have to show for it. So it's not a matter of spending power. It's a matter of player recruitment, and we're not an attractive club. I disagree with the last statement because I just don't see – if we're not an attractive club, why is Odegaard coming here unless it really is just he wants to play and he doesn't figure in Ancelotti's plans. But is it just that we do so well generating revenue in other areas? We're the most expensive ticket in the Premier League. Granted, no fans last year, but that notwithstanding, nobody knows if Kroenke is putting his own money in. So where do you come down with Kevin's statement here? Stan, you're muted.
He's still muted.
There you go.
I'll start with the last part. Arsenal was not an attract. I had myself on mute because I've been eating a box of Ritz. I didn't want to be munching on that. But I start with the Arsenal was not an attractive club. I'd have to probably agree that I think that we have lost a lot of pull. You know, we're a team that finishes 8th. We're not playing in Europe, and you know, some players that we were looking at, Europe is a big thing for them, and I think it does count for a lot of players. It might not count so much for a Martin Odegaard, but it probably does count more for someone like a Locatelli, for example. It may even count for someone like you know, a Lautaro Martinez. We'll have to see what happens there. We have spent money. We definitely spent money. I mean, you know, whether you're going to pay out over installments, 72 million is 72 million, which you've committed to for Nicola Pepe. Just using that as an example. And I think that maybe a lot of you may agree with me that it's not that we don't spend money, we've just spent it poorly. We overlook Kante, we bring in Xhaka, we spend the money that we did on players like Mustafi, you know, with players like Liechtensteiner, Socrates. You know, we just spend our money really badly. We're now in a situation where we've just increased Aubameyang's contract to 250,000 up to 300,000 with bonuses and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden, from what I gather, it wasn't Barcelona that came sniffing around for our 2 strikers. As I understand it, reading today, Arsenal offered them to Barcelona. So all of a sudden now, Arsenal, after giving him that big contract, they're trying to offload the player. And apparently Barcelona have turned, and all this about Coutinho, that was Arsenal. Would you be interested in this deal? This wasn't Barcelona making these deals to us, as I understand it. Barcelona have turned around and said, no, thanks. So now we could be in a situation where both of those players don't get moved on. And they're thinking to themselves, hold on a minute. They just tried to move us on. It doesn't, again, it could create unrest, right? You know, a player's thinking, well, it doesn't. You know, we're talking about Aubameyang going for a lean patch. And some players are saying that he hasn't got confidence. Some people are saying that. I'm not. But if that is the case, trying to offload him is not going to give him much confidence, is it?
Right.
Are you done, Stan?
Yeah.
Before you guys launch into all these transfer stories that I don't read or give any credence to, I just want to say one thing, and I did this on Danny's show yesterday, where Bergkamp Wonderland. I'm going to do it now, okay? Please look at me if you're watching this. I want to be wrong. I believe Arteta and the front office are killing this club. I want to be wrong. Okay, now you guys can talk about all that transfer stuff. I'll just kind of sit here and, you know, look at my.
I mean, I don't know that there's really much else other than the Aaron Ramsdale thing going on. Does anybody have a problem with Aaron Ramsdale, the player? Take the price out of the equation. Does anyone have a problem with Ramsdale, the goalkeeper? Rohan, I'll start with you.
No problem with him. I mean, he's a Premier League proven, or at least he's played in the Premier League before for the first team, and he's coming in as backup, right? Like, although again, fantasy stat, you know, in terms of XG conceded, he was the worst, and Martinez was the best in terms of XG saves. So, you know, that's something to say. Wouldn't it be typical Arsenal to sell Martinez, whose stats are the best in the league, for 20 million and then pay 30 million for someone who's on paper who's worse than him? But at the end of it, we need a backup. We've seen what could happen, you know, if now that we don't have Martinez. So Martinez actually was quite great, you know, the season before, but now we've got to get someone else in, whether it's Ramsdale or someone. I don't really care.
Ryan, where do you come down on Ramsdale? Just the player himself. Where do you come down?
I don't dislike him as much as social media and the Arsenal fans on that, but I do think, you know, we're doing this thing. I know everyone loves it. We're doing this thing called rebuilding, and we're trying to get younger guys to kind of set us up for the future. I don't know. I don't think Leno's going to be here much longer, and he didn't look very interested on Friday. So I don't think really we should that position, we should really be looking for the long term. I mean, we should. You should look long term for any position, but I think we should be getting someone with experience that could kind of hang with the boys and maybe even overtake Leno this season. Can Ramsdale do it? Maybe, but our only iteration of him was him on a relegated Sheffield United side. So, like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. I don't know what we're going to pay. I know we're paying significantly less than what we were rumored to be paying for him originally when we came away from the table. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, he definitely wants to play for us. He's Arsenal are his boyhood team, so I think that could bode well for him. Maybe he'll really want to play for the shirt and he'll really put in 150% for us. So that's good. I don't know. I was actually looking more toward like Neto from Barcelona, or just someone that could kind of cover us this season and maybe even next, because I don't know if Ramsdale could be that goalie for us if we want to do things going forward.
I have a question, right?
Go ahead,
just to add to this, I mean, whatever you guys think of Ramsdale, but, you know, is the keeper, whoever is coming in your view, is that a backup, or should we be looking at someone who can really challenge Leno? You know, considering the fact that some people would say that the first goal that we conceded in the near post was, you know, the keeper's fault to some extent.
Yeah, I would like to answer that. As you all know, I've been on board with Leno and completely satisfied with him as the starting keeper. However, some questions began to rise for me in that Brentford game, getting beat at the short post, like Rohan said. Oh, that goal was Chambers' fault, and the second goal on a header where he was like manhandled. Yeah. He didn't push back. He didn't yell at the guy that did it to him, and he didn't yell to the ref. I don't know. That's making me have questions about, you know, his fire. You know, I mean, wow, talk about not a stereotype of a German. Whatever, man. So I'm starting to have some questions about Leno. So Ramsdale, you know what? He's pretty decent with a little bit of upside. If Leno gets hurt, I wouldn't worry with Ramsdale in net, as long as it's not too high a price.
Stan, let me put a different sort of spin on the Ramsdale thing for you, if you don't mind. So we paid $50 million for Ben White, and that is a buy for the future. It's a buy for now, but we're buying his potential. So we're spending $50 million in the hopes that Ben White in 2 to 3 years' time is going to be one of the elite center backs in the Premier League. Is $30 million for Aaron Ramsdale? Is that sort of mentality where we bring him in? He's going to push Bernd Leno, but in maybe 2 years' time, he's taking over that number one spot and hopefully becoming one of the best keepers in England.
Well, if that's the case, then Mikel Arteta needs to be careful that he's not buying players for the next manager. He might not be here in 2 years' time. Do you know what I mean?
He won't be.
He needs to be thinking a little bit more present. He doesn't have enough in the bank with Arsenal fans at the moment, I think, or even the real football world at large, to be thinking about this guy in 2 years' time.
Yeah, if we start 0-3, which I don't want either, Rohan, but it looks like that to me, playing two of the best clubs, not just in the Premier League, but in the world. If we go to 0-3, this isn't last season. There's fans in the stands. They're going to know how pissed off Arsenal supporters are.
Yeah, he needs to be looking not 2 years down the road, but he needs to be looking at fucking 2 weeks down the road, I think.
Yep.
Probably not even that far down the road, right?
Yeah, and it sucks. I don't want to say this, but the Martinez deal is kind of biting us. Not because we made a stupid deal, it was because he wanted to go. He wanted to leave. He wanted a promise of first team football. We couldn't do that with Leno. So, you know, as a club, it wasn't a bad move, but it sucks because Martinez could have really helped us out here, especially knowing now that Leno's. Look, I mean, it looks like it's easy. One foot out the door.
Time out. Then you can talk some more. I'm not off the Leno bandwagon. I just have some questions about him. I'm not ready to say, "Oh my God, all you people were right about Martinez." All right?
No, I didn't say people were right about Martinez. I didn't say that. And I'm not off the Leno train either. It looks like he's on it. It looks like he's thinking of his next team that he's going to play for, and it's not Arsenal FC.
I think he looks like a guy that knows he's not going to lose his backup. He's not going to lose his backup role. He's not going to lose his role as the number one keeper because the guy behind him. If I could teach my Beagles to walk on their hind legs and stack them one on top of the other, they'd be a better goalkeeper than Runarsson, right? And Leno knows that. You know, he knows.
I don't know. I don't really buy that, but that's just
I don't buy putting thought bubbles over players' heads and filling it in with your own thoughts. Hey, these guys get to this level because they're competitors. All right, he's not thinking, oh, gee, I can't wait till I play for Bayern Munich next year. Oh, I let in a goal. It doesn't work that way.
Well, let me put up a comment here from Lone Star. I'm scrolling back up a little ways, but this is he's right here. I don't want backup. Now, understand, and I want every signing fighting to start. Yes, I agree with that. Now, are all of the players that you bring in that are going to be second on the depth chart in their given position, are they going to fight as hard as they can to start, but it's not always going to be good enough. Nuno Tavares is going to fight like hell.
I was just going to say, he wasn't bought in thinking he's the backup. He think he's competing. Like, he can't say you don't want backups.
But he's not going to unseat Kieran Tierney. But now, Kieran Tierney knows that. But Kieran Tierney also has a much different mentality than a lot of the players on this team. Burned Leno. And it's weird because he's German. I don't know. It's weird to me to say that.
Easy with the German talk. All right, please.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it doesn't matter that there's nobody behind him pushing him for that number one role. Like, I just feel like that's the German sides are German players are they're already motivated enough. They don't need someone behind them pushing him.
That's why I don't agree with your statement. That's why I don't agree with you at all. He's like Glenn said, he's a competitor. All these guys are professional athletes. Yeah, they may be a step. You're not going to get like a night and day difference because he has no backup. I think that's crazy. That's just me.
But he was a better goalkeeper when Emi Martinez came in, and he knew Martinez was pushing him.
No, that's your opinion. I don't agree with it, but I believe he was a better goalie because he's committed to the club. I don't think he's as committed to the club as he was 2 years ago when he was playing the season.
Dan, I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to answer to what Lone Star was saying there about not wanting backups and wanting starters. Again, I have to just rewind a bit. When you don't get to have, like 2-class right backs, 2-class left backs, and 2-class players in every position,
right?
Fighting for their place. You don't get that until we get back to where we used to be. You don't get that until you're back in the Champions League, and you've got players that are willing to fight tooth and nail for that place. Remember, we finished 8th 2 seasons in a row. We've got no European competition. We're lucky enough that we've got players that we're paying 250 grand to, right? So, we have to be looking at backup players that are there that are going to be able to do a job when our main guys are out. And as we get better and better and better, we can switch out we upgrade. We get better players. But we're not in that place yet. We are not. We're a mid-table team. Until I see otherwise, we are a mid-table team. We're not a top 4 team. We're not a top 6 team. We'll know that when the end of this season comes. But right here and now, we're a mid-table side.
For the players that we need to be a top 4 contender, only teams like Manchester City and Chelsea, the only 2 teams in the Premier League whose mission statement is they are not for profit. You cannot have 2 superstars at every position. You just can't, unless you're Chelsea or Manchester City.
I don't think to be a top 4 in the Premier League requires that, though. I think we actually are close to a top 4 team. We just have a not so good manager. Trying to be nice.
Lone Star says here, nope, Stan, the mentality starts now. You're missing the point, my friend. It's not about mentality. We can't afford to have a team that has quality in 2 positions like Manchester City, Chelsea.
We can't afford
Man United and half of Liverpool because some of their backup players aren't that good, I think. We can't afford it. And the other thing is, not only can we not afford it, we can't attract those kind of players yet. Until we get back and we're sat at the big table, then we can attract those players. It's not about mentality. London, Ramsdale. It's just the way that it is, you know.
I'll put an example on it. It's like this: we have Kieran Tierney. We're not going to go out and buy Andy Robertson too.
That's
just
perfect.
not happening. That's just not happening.
Perfect, BG. Perfect.
I mean, we have Bernd Leno. We're not going to go out and buy Manuel Neuer. We're not going to go out and buy Jan Oblak. Those just aren't happening.
BG,
so it's the
drop the mic. Drop the mic.
Yeah, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. See you guys. I'm done.
No, after the Robertson thing.
No, I mean,
perfect.
Lone Stars, but I'll say this, but Lone Star's point is taken in a different light. I want the backups, whether they are capable or not of unseating who's in front of them. I want them fighting like hell every day in training to try. Like I said, Tavares isn't unseating Kieran Tierney as the starting left back. But I want him every day out in training. I want him fighting like hell to try and unseat him. It's not going to happen, but I want him to goddamn try. So I want the effort there. I want the mentality in the backups there. But in terms of, you're not going to buy. I mean, look, even Alex Lacazette and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang they're within our club an example of you're not going to play both. You're just not going to do it. We've done it. That's actually probably a bet. Well, but one is out of position. One is being played out of position.
People will tell you otherwise, but I
I'm not.
with you.
Yeah, I'm not going to go down that road. But somebody else made a comment about Tavares. By the end of the year, he will be the starting right back for Arsenal Football Club. And think about this: on Friday, when Callum Chambers was subbed off, with Cedric and Hector Bellerin, two right backs on the bench, Callum Chambers was subbed off for the backup left back, Nuno Tavares. Think about that.
You're not going to get me to be positive, hoping that youngsters mature fast enough.
Real quick. I'm curious, and sometimes it's just a thought pops into my head. But I'm curious because I saw that and I'm thinking to myself, there's Hector Bellerin and Cedric and Maitland-Niles all on the bench. And Arteta brought in the backup left back to play on the right-hand side. Is it stupid on Arteta's part? Is it a mistake by Arteta to do that? Or is it Tavares showing something that maybe he can play over there? And maybe earned that right to come on and try and turn things around, because I actually had that thought before Friday could Nuno Tavares maybe somehow become the starting right back this year? Rohan, I'll start with you.
I think all of this boils down to both sides really, but questioning also Arteta's judgment that he's given Cedric a deal, right? Then why was Cedric given a deal when you don't think that person is good enough, right? You just bought him without even playing him really, and now you want to replace him with a backup left back, right? Bellerin, anyways, we know that he's not working out. He should probably go to Milan or somewhere. The modeling culture also will probably suit him a little bit better than here. That's what he looks out for. But overall, I think that Arteta is just burning too many bridges also. By doing all of this, he needs the team on his side. And I think, if rumors are to be believed, or I don't know what exactly is going on, but Arsenal has been very they've been very ambiguous about the sickness that Lacazette and Aubameyang have, and this won't be the first time that Arteta has tried to come down with an iron fist and show that he's the man. And when he's got the right side of things, like in the North London derby last year, then he's bigged himself up. But this time we saw what happened at Brentford, right? So he's sort of digging his own grave. And by the end of it, like I said in our group chat, that I think Aubameyang and Lacazette are going to outlast him.
Glenn.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, all the right backs we have right now are just competing to be squad players. We need somebody solid there, but I think our more important need is someone next to Partey right now. But yeah, I don't like any of our right backs. The one who might have the most potential for me, don't chop my head off, is Maitland-Niles.
I don't think anybody here will chop your head off because I think
he doesn't want to play there.
Yep, he doesn't want to play there. He
All right,
held that on me.
send me the quote, Ryan, please, because you always bring that up.
It's every we mean. It's been like years. He's always said he doesn't.
I know
When he went
originally
to West Brom. Where did he play when he went to West Brom on loan last season?
I know originally his vagina was flapping and he was saying he only plays midfield, but he changed his mind as far as I remember.
Okay,
Right.
okay. So what position did he play when he was on loan last season at West Brom? Do you know, Glenn?
No.
He was a center midfielder. He never played a minute at fullback for West Brom.
All right, first of all, I said don't chop my fucking head off, okay? I don't
not.
care.
Well, it depends what head you're talking about, but I'm not chopping one of your heads off. But yeah, so he's not I don't like everyone's adding amen to the fullback discussion. He's not a fullback. He's never going to play fullback for us unless he miraculously wakes up and goes, you know what? Chambers probably not good enough. Cedric, fuck yeah. Bellerin probably won't be here. Well, I don't know. I think we're going to extend him and probably make it harder for us to sell him. But I mean,
Yemen is gonna like put his nose up and be like, no, I'm too good to play right back for Arsenal Football Club. Then did we sell the wrong person? Then we should have sold AMN and kept Willem.
We should, yeah. Looking back, we should have sold him to the Wolves.
Newcastle left, right, and center last season, and he wasn't good enough for us, right? Like, I mean, we had to sell it.
Yeah, he sounds like captain material on Arsenal.
Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Who was it? Turkish tweeted out, Xhaka being captain was a slap in the face. I tweeted back. I said, no, it was a sucker punch.
It was both. Yeah, I agree.
He said it on an interview with Sky Sports, but that was also when Unai Emery was here. So that is accurate because Unai Emery was still the manager when the statement was.
Amen. Saying he's not a right back.
Okay, I'll look at it.
After that, I think he also said that I'll play anywhere that
he did. Yeah,
he said that after the FA Cup win.
Right.
After the FA Cup win that he would.
But yeah, he goes to West Brom and he's only playing center mid. It's just I'm tired. I was a huge fan of his. I'm so tired of him.
Like, he probably prefer to play in midfield, but is he really the guy that he's? Does he think that he's quality enough to say that no, if I don't start in midfield, then you need to, then I'd rather sit on the bench. Like, I mean, then he's
an idiot. Then he's an idiot and deserves what he gets.
Exactly.
If that's true.
I agree.
But if that's not true, I think he has enough qualities where he might be a squad player for us that can play a couple of positions.
So just talking about this Tavares thing, coming on as a right back, me personally, I just think it's yet another example of Mikel Arteta's too cool for schoolness. I mean, if you're thinking that, and if you're going to say to me, well, he must have seen something in training, then you don't need to hog up the rest of the bench with other right backs. If you're thinking that, if you're thinking I need a cover for right back, I like what I saw of Tavares, even though he's a left back, then you're wasting space on the bench by having another couple of right backs there, in my opinion, if that's what your idea is. And I'm sorry to do this, but I'm just looking at a comment from Lawson Stevens. He says Tavares has the foundations to be just like Davis, and I'm guessing that he's talking about Alphonse Davis from Canada. Give him time to develop in a top league, and he will get there one day. And I just think to myself, like, Tavares has the foundations to be just like Alphonse Davis, and I just have to say, based on what? What are you basing that on?
I don't know. I have an automatic objection to that opinion because he's American, right?
No, he's Canadian.
He's Canadian.
He's Canadian. Okay.
But we've seen him play one game out of position and a couple of pre-season games, and then you can start bigging the guy up to be like the second coming. And I don't mean to dig you out, Lawson. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm not, and I appreciate that you're coming here with us as well. But I think we do this to these new players. They always have to be the next thing. The next this and the next that, and we're basing it all in one game. Why can't he just be Tavares and let's see how it goes? Personally, I think Mikel Arteta picking him as a right back, he almost hung the lad out to dry, because had he cost us even more or had a terrible performance there, then that would have all again been on Mikel Arteta's plate. It's no different to playing Xhaka at left back for me, or playing ESR as a false nine. I don't understand why he's trying to reinvent the wheel. You know, football's been played a certain way for years. You don't have to try and reinvent it. You know, so I don't get it. I think it's just very naive. It's either naive or arrogant playing Tavares at right back.
To be fair,
I think just real quick, Ryan. I think when I think of Arteta, I think of a rookie manager who's out of his depth, and his worst enemy is himself. Arteta is stubborn. Okay, that's it.
No, yeah, and one thing I will say is I get what Lawson's saying about comparing to Alphonso Davies. Only problem is Alphonso Davies is a year younger than Nuno Tavares. But anyways, I do think there's merit into I don't know who said it, but I do think Nuno offers us the most, I guess, offensive, most attack out of our fullbacks. And I kind of agree with what you're saying, Stan. I think Nuno is the new signing. We could kind of be like, it's his first game. It's okay. But if had Bellerin came on and shit the bed, we're trying to sell him. It's going to tank his value. I think if we bought – I think Cedric's out of favor. I just don't think Cedric's just an afterthought.
I remember Cedric scoring on his debut, but he didn't go on to be, Paolo Maldini. I'm just saying, why don't we get a snapshot first of, say, maybe a dozen games of Tavares before we start making comparisons to him being like the second coming?
No, I agree. I don't really care to compare him right now. I mean, he's backup left back. We may see him as a cameo right back. I don't know. But and again, I also with the Cedric thing too. I think we were just, you could say Arteta was too cool for school, or the board was just, we were cool with our pants down. We made a really bad loan signing, and it's like, nah, he's gonna pan out. We know what we're doing, and then we signed him up for 4 years. And now what do you know? We look even stupider, which you didn't even think we could do that. We pull another Dennis Suarez, and we managed to out Dennis Suarez. I guess Cedric, I don't know, but yeah,
we managed to out Arsenal when it never mind.
Yeah, whatever.
What I'm trying to say, I'm done.
If you're Cedric, right? If you're Cedric and you're sat on the bench, you've been given a 4-year contract, and then during a match, the manager looks to the bench and he brings on a young left back who's just arrived and starts playing him in your position. Unless you're happy to just take the money and read the newspaper, I'd be knocking on the manager's door and be saying, "So what? You don't rate me then?" Obviously, I understand I've got to work to be picked as the first in that position. But even you take me on the bench and you travel away, you're picking this young kid as a left back. I would want an explanation. I'd want to ask, what is it that I have to do in your eyes to get myself off the pecking order? I'd look for feedback, because it doesn't make any sense to me.
It really bothers me that with Arsenal Football Club, we're all arguing about guys that just should be squad players on this team. Let me ask you guys something.
I don't even think Cedric should be a squad player.
Let me ask you guys something. If you knew that you could get 2 more transfers in this window, what positions? For me, it would be someone next to Partey and a backup keeper. So only 2. Can we go around? BG, can we start with you?
Only me?
If someone said you can only have 2 more transfers this window, what positions would you take care of?
The backup keeper for sure. I think that's more important than people realize, because we are literally 1 sprained ankle, one twisted knee, 1 pulled hand.
You keep saying that. We were in that situation last season though, like that.
And we saw what happened. We didn't know what we had. Are you okay with Runarsson being the backup goalkeeper if Bernd Leno develops a high ankle sprain and
Hein was the backup goalie on the roster
because Runarsson was sick?
Well, maybe, I don't know.
No, you do know, because that's what the club said.
I know. I don't know if Runarsson was healthy, he would be on the bench. I don't know that.
They made it a point to tell you that
because he's on the first team roster. Because in the first team roster doesn't mean he was Runarsson would have been on the bench, but he's sick. No, they said he was unwell.
So you don't know if Aubameyang or Lacazette would have been on the bench had they not been sick either?
I mean, they're a little more important than Runarsson. Don't be an asshat.
I'm not being an asshat. You're telling me
you are. You're comparing Runarsson to Aubameyang and Lacazette.
Goalkeeper. He is the backup goalkeeper.
Maybe.
There
I'm
is
trying
no
to get rid of
maybe.
him.
He is.
No, there is a maybe. There is a maybe.
There's no maybe. He was unwell. It was announced he was unwell, hence why he is not on the bench.
Yeah.
The club said that.
But you're
literally taking what the club said and saying
we
that
have
doesn't matter.
4 goalies. You know we have 4 goalies on our first team roster, right? Any
Yes.
one of those.
You're confident.
So
Are you
starting.
confident? Are you confident that Carl Hine is the backup?
No, honestly, I just want to prove you wrong right now.
You're not gonna prove
Leno,
There's
I
not
am
a chance of
going
proving you wrong.
to prove you wrong right now. Leno is our starting goalie. So there's 3 goalies. You have Nkunku, you have Hine, you have Runnerson. Who's to say who's on that bench?
Okay. Let me ask you
But
this.
none of them are good enough, man. It doesn't matter who's on the bench.
I know, Rohan. I just wanted to prove a point to Tanner. That's all.
Are you
But
comfortable?
am I comfortable? Sorry.
Are you comfortable with any of the other 3 as the backup goalkeeper if Bernd Leno has to miss a month?
Let
me ask you a different question.
I don't care.
If Bernd Leno gets hurt against Manchester, if Bernd Leno gets hurt against Manchester City and misses 2 weeks, so he misses the international break and he misses Burnley, are you comfortable with the backup keeper against Burnley?
I think we're in such a shithole of a position and we're so bad. We have the absolute wrong manager for the position that I don't think it fucking matters who's in net at this point.
It
does to an extent.
That's a separate point. That's a separate point.
Well, there you go.
I agree. That what you just said, I agree with. I do agree with that. Our problem is scoring goals. Now, granted, we gave up 2 to a newly promoted team, so it would stand to reason that part of the problem is keeping them out of our own net as well. But we got to score, and the one thing we haven't done all preseason is do that. Lawrence, I see your super chat. I want Glenn's question to get answered by everybody first. I have it here. I see it. I will get it up in a second. Thank you. Let me get Glenn's question answered by all of us, please, and then I'll get back to you. To answer my answer, Glenn, is backup goalkeeper, and I would have to say, probably a more defensive-minded midfielder. So the partner for Partey. Yeah.
I'll go exactly the same as you, Tanner. I think I'd love to put it on a midfielder and another forward, but a goalkeeper is so important, and it does seem to be a big gulf in the quality back there. It's not something that you can really toy around with. And as you say, if Bernd Leno gets something happens to him and he's out for a couple of months, it could be panic stations. So I'd go with a goalkeeper. And again, a very defensive-minded midfielder.
Rohan?
Yeah. I mean, 2 positions for Arsenal Football Club. If you're talking about that, then, I mean, the first position that you have to change is the manager. Really.
You stole my answer.
Keep it to play.
No, Rohan.
The question is players.
Rohan, if that was on the menu, I would have taken that first. All right, pretend it's not on the menu, wise ass. All right, you're very clever. That's awesome. I agree with you. But 2 positions.
So no, I understand what the intent of the question is. I just had to get that dig in for Arteta, right? Like so I think it's a goalkeeper. And it's a creative midfielder because I cannot see this drab BS that's going on at our club. Like, that's just not acceptable to me. And I think squad-wise, my opinion is that we have been better than 8th in the last 2 seasons. And we are better than 8th or, 6th. Like, I mean, we should at least be 6th this season. But we'll not get there, not because our squad is not good enough. It's because Arteta is not good enough. And, I've just thought about that, why does Chelsea keep doing well, right? They change managers, they do well. Because when a manager is there, some of these players get ostracized and they're not performing. But all of these players are quality. And the new manager comes in and everybody tries to perform. And so they give 110%, 115%. It's like when you go out on your first date, you're like the best guy in the world. And then 2 months later, you're just like not doing anything in the house, right? Like that's the state of Arsenal Football Club. And so if we change that, I think a lot of issues would get resolved. So, for me, that's most important. But yeah, in the first 11, it'll be backup goalkeeper. and a creative midfielder.
Ryan?
Well, all right. Well, I mean, 100%, numero uno, never going to happen. But my number one priority is a partner for Partey. And second, just because we don't have anything there. And I think we could, obviously keeping Arteta out of this, I think if we're playing just based on roster, based on, the team that's on the team sheet, I think we can get by with Aubameyang and Lacazette. I think we can get by with Chambers. Maybe if Nuno has to make an appearance as a right back. I just fucking threw my whole point out the window before, but it's gonna be a backup goalkeeper. Only because too, on top of that, I just think that we need to be prepared for when Leno leaves in the summer. Not saying he's gonna, but we need to be prepared if he does leave. That's why I was so happy that we were linked with. Oh, I always say his name wrong. Apparently, according to Tanner, Oana. I was real excited about him. Onana, whatever. I was, I was trying to get orgasm for Onana trending. Didn't work, but
You pronounce his name like that old 50s song. Oh Donna. Is that how you say his name? Because I'll always remember it.
Onana. What's the name? Yeah, I should know that. Yeah. But yeah.
Why is this so hard? It's Onana.
That's what she said.
Good.
Because I'm
Yes. There it is. Well done. All right. So Lawrence paid us. Paid Craig to read his comment here.
Do we get the money, man?
It's just the irony of it. I mean, it really is just the irony of this. I'll explain it later why I'm chuckling like this.
Okay.
You guys honestly think that Arteta will still be in charge after the international break if we lose to Chelsea? Let's try, please, to go rapid fire around the horn here. Ryan, I'll start with you. Is he still in charge if we lose both games at the international break? And let's not forget, hang on. We play West Brom in the League Cup in between Chelsea and City. Let's remember that, please.
What date is it? Can you tell us what date that is, please?
Wednesday, I believe it's the 25th. Yes, it's a week from tomorrow, the 25th. It's the League Cup. Okay, Chelsea and City in the league. We lose both. Does he keep his job, Ryan? Yes or no?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes, he keeps his job because this is Arsenal Football Club, and Arteta is the master of.
He said, "Quick, Glenn."
How to win
It'll be
friends.
Quick. He's never long-winded. I'm not worried about Glenn.
People.
I know. That's why.
I think it's not realistic until around Christmas time.
Rowan?
Yeah, I think he's going to stay, one, because this is Arsenal Football Club and they expected to lose these two games anyway. So the only upset that they would see is Brentford, but that's already done. If they had to sack him, they'd sack him after that. So
exactly. Yeah.
That's a good point, Stan.
I'm sorry, again, I can't just give a yes or no answer like Glenn and Rohan. I asked for the date because if it's August the 25th, are they going to really sack a manager 5 days before the window shuts? That's 5 days of inactivity. If we need to bring someone in, they're never going to get a manager in time to take up the slack. And if they're going to get rid of him on the 25th, they probably would do it. I think that I just don't see them allowing him to get through the transfer window and then bringing someone else in a week after the window shuts. A new manager's going to come in, no money to spend. He's going to have to use the same tools. I don't see it. I think they're going to let him go through the window and they're going to allow him to use his new toys for something.
That says a lot about what you think about the club, Stan, because a well-run club would already be thinking about his successor and would have that successor lined up and not be thinking about that on the 25th. But Arsenal, you're right. Arsenal functions like that. They probably sack him and then look around who's available.
And to answer Lone Star's question, I want Arteta sacked for Christmas. Yes, but,
I also think as well though that I lost my train of thought there. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Let me put a spin.
And I just want to say one other thing, BG. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong about Arteta. But I
I
feel
think we all do to an extent.
I want him to turn it around. I absolutely want him to turn it around.
Sorry, what I was going to say, I remembered now. What I was going to say was the appointment of Emery, for me, I think it was a big gamble getting him in for the people that made that decision, the board backing it. So if they get rid of the day they say this isn't working, we're going to get rid of him, whether it's now, next week, September, there will be egg on their face for appointing him in the first place. So I think that they will try and drag it out as long as they can, because they really don't want they don't want to be put in a position now. As I said before, if they got rid of Arteta tomorrow and the dude goes with him, who at the club is qualified to go to the board with a short list of managerial names and say, this is who I think we should be bringing in? Because the Conkies aren't going to make that decision. They will depend on someone to make recommendations. And just to tail off that, not only do they get rid of Arteta, let's say they want to bring in someone like Conte, who is qualified with the football knowledge to sit down in front of someone like Conte, who knows so much about football, and he's going to be able to sell a vision to someone like Conte, who's at our club, who can sell a vision of football, what we plan to do. This is where we see you fitting in. This is what we see for the future. There's no one there that can sell a vision. So it's going to be, the day that it happens, it's going to be shambles.
This is the downfall of Arsenal Football Club for the last 20 odd years, right? People not wanting to get egg on their face, right? Like Wenger started it with not admitting that we needed a defensive midfielder. He just kept on trying the same thing. Arteta's done that with his tactics and not trying to adapt it to the players. He's trying to, mold his system into those players who are just not buying it. And the board doesn't want to, or the people working there don't want to get egg on their face and say that, no, we made the wrong appointment, because none of them really care about Arsenal Football Club. They're just, thinking about themselves. And, like, this is the thing. I've been reading like some books on investing, etc. Right. And this is human psychology, right? Like when your chips are down, when you're in need of money, and you have shares that are performing well and shares that are performing badly. When you need money, what people tend to do is sell the shares that are doing well. Well, in fact, what they should be doing is sell the shares that are doing badly, because those are the ones that are pulling you down. But we don't want to do that. Arsenal is just so rudimentary in their thinking. Why do you have to sell a vision to Conte? You just have to tell him that here's the key to the house. You know more than us.
We'll never admit that. I agree with you 100%, Rohan. There's no way we're ever going to admit something stupid like that. It's not stupid, but as far as the club's concerned, anyway.
Everybody that they've brought in knows more than them. That's the thing. Everyone they've brought in knows more than they do. They know that. They know they don't know what they're doing in this sport. And everybody they've brought in has known more than they do, and they know that. It's not a matter of admitting it. They admit it with their hires. The only person in the world they could hire where they would say, we're not sure if he knows more than us when it comes to this, is me. I'm the only one they could hire in the world that they would say, maybe it's a toss-up here. Maybe he doesn't know as much as we do. You know what I'm saying? I want to take...
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Take that.
I want to put the insurance basket... I liked what the insurance basket said with his first message, where he's ready to give Arteta a couple of months with the team if we get some help. I can agree with that if we got like Aouar and a backup goalkeeper. I would actually start thinking a little more positive like that, insurance basket. And by the way, that's a great name.
Yeah, Stan likes that one. I want to put real quick a spin. I'm going to add a caveat to Lawrence's question about Arteta being sacked after the City match. What if we don't score? What if we go the next 3 games without scoring?
Do any of us expect to score?
But if you go 3 games, you lose all 3, and you don't score, one of those games is at home. One of those games was against a newly promoted side.
It doesn't make a difference because they're expecting to lose. That's the mentality of the club. They knew that they were going to lose against Chelsea and Manchester City. That was already a write-off. The only upset is Brentford. And if they have to make a change, then make a change right now,
If we go through the next 3 games without scoring, and let's say The next game, he feels the same up front. Martinelli, Balogun switching around. And then the next 2 games, Lacazette and let's say Aubameyang are back and they're used. And after those 3 games, we haven't scored a goal. Then I would find it difficult to say how you would continue with Arteta, because that would be showing you that it doesn't matter what the personnel are. There's something not fundamentally is wrong with the team, that they can't score a goal, no matter who he selects. So I think there'd be an even bigger chorus for him to go.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much where we are right now, because it's. I mean, we're going back, and I've said this. I've said it on every show I've done since Friday. We go back to the end of last season. We go through this entire preseason and the game against Brentford. Now, if we go through Chelsea and Manchester City, okay, maybe we're expected to lose, but we got to score a goal. Like, we have to score a goal somewhere in there. And if we don't, I mean, that is the problem. The problem is not the players.
Yeah, but is it a problem? Is it a problem, BG, if Aubameyang and Lacazette are not playing against Chelsea? Now, can someone fill me in? Is that story developed in any way, or are they still out?
There's a rumor that somebody put out there that it is, in fact, that they've both tested positive for COVID. I saw it once. I saw somebody tweet it.
Okay, but they're definitely not playing against Chelsea.
That definitely not playing against Chelsea. From what I
And I'm glad.
Normally, even with the lack of transfers, if we had them available, I would think we had a small chance against Chelsea because the game's at home, right?
I'm glad they're not available. I'm really glad that they're not available, in the sense that I want to see that same team again. I want to see whether that was the jitterbugs, a one-off or whatever. I want to see whether they can redeem themselves. If he uses the same team again, obviously maybe with a slight variation, starting Saka and maybe starting Martinelli through the middle and maybe using Balogun off the bench.
Yeah, I don't like Balogun against Chelsea. I agree with that.
But if we see a similar performance in the way that they play, then I'm that's gonna help me to kind of have more of an opinion on Arteta. I really want to see that team again, to see if he can get them to ignite and redeem themselves, and whether the players are just having an off day.
I do think, I mean, as much as I had a lot of realizations in the last, week, I guess, I do think you blame Arteta for this. I don't think we were prepared for this game. I think we were very underprepared. There was a lot of players that didn't look like they knew what they were doing. You blame Arteta for that. So hopefully with the coming games, we look more prepared, more ready. I know Chelsea and Man City are, a big step up, but I do think if we had Saka in the whole game, I think it would have been a closer game. But it's the system, the formation, what we do is just not good enough. The first week of games, we were the top team in shooting, the most shots, and then we couldn't put one of them past Brentford.
I gotta say, the comments being positive about the Chelsea game. What do you guys like to say? Big up to you guys. I really.
What do you guys like to say?
I'm old. I don't use those terms.
To be fair, we play Chelsea well.
I think nowadays you are brave to be a positive Arsenal fan, because people are just losing their shit on social media.
Well, I mean,
that's all I wanted to say.
This comment right here is, we won our last 3 games against Chelsea. Who believes we're going to lose, Arsenal or us? It's us. He's saying it's us.
I like it.
Last 3 games we've played against Chelsea, we've won. Well, let's look at those games, shall we? The first of those 3 is the FA Cup final. That was a year ago. That was almost a year ago to the day. The second was Boxing Day at home, with Emile Smith-Rowe coming into the side.
And at that point, and also to add, at that point, Chelsea were themselves doing very badly with Lampard, who got sacked a couple of weeks later.
Yep.
Guys, can I just? I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt. Okay,
hang on. And the third was the penultimate match of, I think it was like the second to last match of last season, where we beat them at the bridge by them basically putting the ball in their own net. They didn't.
We got rinsed in that game.
Oh my gosh, you guys! I understand, because I know this is universal. Where you compare
Glenn, please hang on a minute, okay? This is seriously, it's like going back 50 years and saying, but we beat them 3 in a row 50 years ago.
But see, you're wrong. It wasn't 50 years ago, though. It was it was a couple months ago.
I love this, man. I love this. I swear to God, and I'm not going to say it all due respect because I'm not saying this with any due respect. But sometimes I feel like I'm the only person in the face of the planet that understands the business of sport.
I guess you are. I guess you do.
I mean that. Like, this is a what have you done for me lately business. And this is like, oh, well, we did it last year. Fuck last year.
But like
fuck last year. Last year doesn't mean shit.
Okay,
it doesn't. It doesn't mean a fucking thing.
Okay. Now I know because we agree.
It doesn't mean a fucking thing. This is the dumbest argument in the world. It doesn't mean anything. Look at it here and now. It's like, but wait, well, we did this over here.
A little something. Like, it means a little something.
I disagree. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay, I can disagree. It means a little.
It means a pebble. It
means a pebble.
The players can have confidence because they can look back and say, well, we beat them last year, and that's great. And that, okay, that's what it counts for.
Thank you. Oh, so
but it has to be done now. It has to be done now.
Okay.
Beating, but why not, if you're saying last year, why not say, why not go back to the last time we beat them 3 times in a row? Why not go back to then and say, but look, we did it then too. And we did it then too. And we did it over here too. And we did it then too.
But it was the last 3 times we played them.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't
matter. It does, but it does.
Ryan, you just want to argue about everything.
Yes, I do. I do want to argue because it does matter.
BG, why didn't you just lead with that? Why do you start this whole thing and then make a U-turn and then say the thing that I didn't think you were saying? Just lead with that. It doesn't mean anything. Listen, the last few years, Aubameyang and Lacazette have scored 49% of Arsenal's goals. We don't got them against Chelsea. That's the stat that matters.
Yeah,
I like that, Glenn.
The last game, I would think, if I was to take anything from previous games, that would be the last game that we played, in which we got absolutely rinsed. The only reason
they score though?
The only reason why we scored was because they made a mistake. The only reason they didn't score was because they had Timo Werner, and now they have Lukaku. They are a better team than
they are. But everyone's making excuses for everything.
I completely understand it. If football was that easy, we would be able to guess all 10 results for next weekend. It doesn't happen that way. But if you go by logic, you could say which is the team on the up and which is the team that's the underdog. And we are the underdog. And the way that we played, it's not giving me any confidence to believe that we are going to go there and perform and get a victory. Like
real quick, Stan, before you jump in, I swear to God, 5 seconds. On the flip side of my tirade, I'm assuming this is a Chelsea fan piping in. Thanks for being here, by the way. You forgot another difference. We're the champions. They are the champions of Europe now. Hey, guess what? That was last year too.
Stop beating up on us little kids. Your team is one of the best in the world. Stop beating up on us. We're very good at beating up on ourselves.
Stan, go, please.
I'm just going to say that I can't remember again now. Forgot it. What happened?
Stan, isn't this supposed to be Glenn forgetting everything? He's going to say he's happy.
I've got to say something, but then I get interrupted and then I forget.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do that.
I can't remember. It goes. You know
well, one thing I will say about Lukaku is, yes, he's a lot better of a striker than Timo Werner. But hey, the last time he was in the Premier League wasn't so good. I'm just hoping he gets that Premier League form back where he was in Man U and he really wasn't doing much. And hopefully he's a new Werner.
Stan, what did you just say?
I can't remember.
But you literally can't remember what you just said 4 seconds ago?
Oh, 4 seconds. I said, that's probably the mind of a weed smoker.
Oh! Like I said, I thought that would be Glenn. It's like, wait, I just had something. Squirrel! Anyway. So just like we did last week, guys, we are going to knock off here. I feel like that's a good place to kind of have an intermission real quick. We're going to knock off here on the same old Arsenal channel. We're going to move everything now over to, we're already on BG Media. If you're not with us already over there, search BG Media or Bearded Gooner. I would say BG Media. There's something else out there. Search Bearded Gooner Media on YouTube. Please, please, please come over. Join us over there. We're going to continue the discussion for maybe another hour, 45 minutes to an hour. Please jump over there and check us out over there. Like I said, we're going to keep everything going. So on over, search Gooner Media on your YouTube search channel or your search bar, and we will see you guys over there in just a second.